Hello everyone, thank you for joining this session on the profound impact of storytelling in early childhood education. Today we focus on preschool age children in nursery settings, a formative stage where they are incredibly receptive to the narratives around them. Research indicates that children start to display gender-specific behaviors by the age of 2, picking cues from their immediate environment. This sets the stage for our discussion. How storytelling in nurseries can be a transformative tool to foster inclusivity and challenge societal norms right from the earliest years. Our research aims to highlight the importance of selecting educational materials that foster inclusivity and empathy from a young age. Let's dive into how strategic narrative choices in children's literature can cultivate responsible, empathetic citizens who appreciate diversity. Let's now delve into the heart of our study, where we critically examine the storytelling elements in children's books used within early childhood education and care settings. Our focus is on dissecting how these elements, themes, characters, plots, and settings shape narratives about gender roles and social justice. Our main question centers around identifying what dominant narrative elements are present in these storybooks. We are looking to understand how themes, characters, plots, and settings might influence the portrait of gender roles and societal norms. What are these books really telling our young learners about the world around them and their place within it? We further break down our inquiry into more specific aspects. Which narrative elements are most commonly associated with promoting ideals of gender equality and social justice? Conversely, which elements tend to reinforce traditional gender roles and societal norms? And how do these books compare in their approaches? Are the commonalities in how gender and social justice are depicted across popular storybooks? Our aim with this question is not just to catalog these elements, but to understand their context and frequency within the storybooks. This analysis will allow us to paint a clearer picture of the narrative landscape that surrounds young children in educational settings. Let's explore the rich theoretical backdrop and existing research that guides our investigation into the impact of storytelling on young minds, particularly in shaping their perception of gender roles and social justice. Storytelling is not just an art, it's a powerful educational tool. It has been recognized for its profound impact on early cognitive and social development. Theorists like Vygotsky have shown us that children absorb societal norms and behaviors through their social interactions, which include the narratives they hear and engage with from a very young age. These stories are not passive entertainment but active lessons in understanding the world and one's role within it. Research has consistently demonstrated that characters, themes, and plots in children's books significantly influence their gender identity and broader social perceptions. For instance, the way gender roles are depicted in storybooks can profoundly affect how children perceive their own possibilities and limitations. Stories that challenge traditional norms can encourage a broader, more inclusive view of potential roles and behaviors. Moreover, children's literature plays a crucial role in citizenship education. Books teach values such as inclusivity, empathy, and diversity. They have the potential to either reinforce societal stereotypes or break them down, thus fostering a more just and equitable society. In sum, our study is rooted in a comprehensive body of theoretical and empirical work that demonstrate the importance of carefully selecting and analyzing the stories we share with our youngest learners. The potential of storytelling to shape a more inclusive and empathetic generation is immense, and it is the potential that our research aims to tap into. Let's take a closer look at how we approach our study, focusing on our methodology and specifics of our data collection. We utilized a content analysis methodology to examine the narrative elements within storybooks. This framework allowed us to systematically explore and interpret themes, characters, plots, and settings and assess their potential impacts on shaping young minds regarding gender roles and social justice. For our study, we selected a total of 112 storybooks. These were chosen based on their popularity and recommendations from educators who are experts in early childhood education. This selection ensures a broad representation of the types of narratives young children are exposed to in preschool settings. We collaborated with 10 nurseries, selecting them through a process of snowball sampling. This method helped us ensure a diverse range of educational environments, enriching the breadth of our analysis. Our data collections involve thematic coding to identify prevalent narrative strategies and the frequency of various narrative elements. We also conducted qualitative analysis to understand the depth and nuances of how these story elements influence perceptions of gender and justice among children. This comprehensive approach, analyzing a significant sample of storybooks across various nurseries, provides us with robust data. It allows us to draw meaningful insights about the influence of storytelling on early childhood development, particularly in the context of gender and social justice. Let's delve into the findings of our content analysis, where we explore the dominant themes, characters, plots, and settings in children's storybooks and examine their potential influence on concepts of gender roles and social justice. One of the most striking findings is the prevalence of themes such as friendship, cooperation, and adventure. These themes generally promote social justice by showcasing diverse characters working together to solve problems. However, we also observe themes like competition and conquest, where male characters are often portrayed as leaders or heroes, potentially reinforcing traditional gender norms. In our character analysis, we found that female characters are frequently depicted in nurturing roles, while male characters are more likely to be adventurers or leaders. This traditional portrait can reinforce stereotypical gender roles. On a brighter note, several storybooks break these traditional molds, presenting both girls and boys in roles that defy these norms, which is a positive step towards gender equality. Regarding plot dynamics, stories centered on overcoming adversity through teamwork, often assembly, promoted gender equality and broader social justice themes. In contrast, plots focused on rivalry or individual triumph tended to reinforce traditional power dynamics and did not challenge gender stereotypes effectively. Finally, settings play a crucial role in shaping narratives. Urban settings in the storybooks typically feature greater diversity and more scenarios of inclusivity, promoting themes of multicultural interaction. In contrast, traditional or fantastical settings sometimes perpetuating more conventional narratives that might not effectively challenge existing gender norms. These insights highlight the complex ways in which storybooks can either reinforce or challenge societal norms. They underscore the importance of carefully selecting and analyzing the stories we share with our children, aiming for narratives that foster a more just and equitable society. Let's now examine how different storybooks compare in their portrayal of societal norms and gender roles. Our analysis reveals interesting variations that largely depend on the genre and purpose of the books. Firstly, we observed clear genre-based differences. Fantasy storybooks often adhere to traditional gender narratives with common tropes like prince rescuing princesses. On the other hand, contemporary realistic fiction offers a stark contrast, frequently depicting characters in non-traditional roles that challenge established gender norms. These books provide children with examples of gender equity in everyday situations, which is crucial for broadening their understanding of what is possible for both genders. Furthermore, books that feature multicultural settings or diverse characters tend to embrace more progressive views on societal norms. These storybooks not only enrich the narrative with a variety of cultural perspectives but also promote gender roles in a more fluid and equitable manner. They often explicitly advocated for social justice and equality, reflecting a more inclusive approach to storytelling. Additionally, our findings indicate a significant distinction between books designed for educational purposes versus those intended for entertainment. Educational storybooks are more likely to incorporate explicit messages about gender equality and social justice designed to teach as well as tell a story. Conversely, books aimed primarily at entertainment sometimes continue to perpetuate traditional stereotypes, utilizing familiar but outdated arcs that reinforce old societal norms. These insights underline the importance of selective book choices in educational settings. By opting for books that challenge traditional norms and promote inclusivity, educators can significantly influence how children perceive gender roles and societal standards. Our analysis has shown that storybooks are not just tools for entertainment, but powerful media that influence young children's perception of gender roles and societal norms. We found that the genre and purpose of storybooks significantly affect how these concepts are portrayed. Specifically, contemporary and realistic storybooks tend to promote more equitable views of gender roles, whereas fantasy genres often reinforce traditional norms. Moreover, educational storybooks more effectively challenge stereotypes and encourage social justice compared to those intended solely for entertainment. These findings carry important implications for educators and policymakers. By selecting storybooks that advocate for inclusivity and equality, educators can help shape children's social and moral perspectives in positive ways. This is a call to action for curriculum developers and educational policymakers to integrate a broader range of diverse and educational storybooks into early childhood programs. Looking ahead, further research is needed to explore the long-term impacts of these narratives on children's attitudes and behaviors. Additionally, the role of digital storytelling and multimedia books in shaping perception warrants closer examination, as these formats become increasingly prevalent in children's lives. Let us leverage the power of storytelling to foster a generation that not only thinks critically but also empathizes deeply. Let's choose and champion storybooks that not only entertain but also educate and inspire our youngest learners toward a more inclusive and just world. Thank you for your attention.